I think the biggest misconception is that I'm a, maybe if people think that.
Now, why do they think that? Why do you, because I'm just like you.
It's a good thing that I believe in prayer because something's happening and I don't know what it is.
Girl that she was like devoid of whoever she was.
Diana Ross's son has revealed the dark truth. Diana Ross is an iconic singer and actress, renowned for her powerful voice, glamorous presence, and trailblazing career. Emerging in the 1960s as the lead singer of the Supremes, she captivated audiences with her soulful performances, later achieving monumental success as a solo artist. Her stage presence, characterized by elegance and magnetic charisma, left an indelible mark on the music industry. But if her persona was so enchanting, why would her son have anything bad to say? Well, you are in for a ride. If you are a fan of Diana Ross, you are about to hear the truth. But before her son unveils the dark truth, we have to find out who Diana Ross truly was. Beginning and childhood. Diana Ross was born in Detroit, Michigan on March 26, 1944. She was the second of 6 children born to Ernestine, née Moten, who lived from January 27, 1916 to October 9, 1984, and Fred Ross Sr., who lived from July 4, 1920 to November 21, 2007. Diana's mother named her Diane, but the birth certificate was mistakenly filled out with the name Diana. Her family and Detroit friends called her Diane all her life. Ross grew up with 2 sisters named Barbara and Rita, and 3 brothers, Arthur, Fred Jr., and Wilbert, also known as Chico. Ross was raised a Christian, in fact, a Baptist. Ross and her family originally resided at 635 Belmont Street, in the North End section of Detroit, near Highland Park, Michigan, where her neighbor was Smokey Robinson. When Ross was 7, her mother contracted tuberculosis, causing her to become seriously ill. For safety, Ross's parents sent their children to live with Ernestine's parents, the Reverend Pastor of Bessemer Baptist Church and Mrs. William Moten in Bessemer, Alabama. After her mother recovered, she and her siblings could return to Detroit. On her 14th birthday in 1958, her family relocated to the working-class Brewster Douglas housing projects, settling at St. Antoine Street. Ross attended Cass Technical High School, a 4-year college and preparatory magnet school in downtown Detroit. And, aspiring to become a fashion designer, she took classes in clothing design, millinery, pattern making, and tailoring. In the evenings and on weekends, she also took modeling and cosmetology classes and participated in several of the school's extracurricular activities, including its swim team. In 1960, Hudson's downtown Detroit store hired Ross as its first African-American busgirl. For extra income, she also provided hairdressing services to her neighbors. Ross graduated from Cass Tech in January 1962. Despite this humble beginning, one may ask, how did Diana come to be? Can her skills be traced to her childhood? Keep watching to get the truth about Diana. Diana Ross's early career. Diana Ross began her singing journey in school, forming a girl group inspired by the local all-male ensemble. Her professional career began in 1959 when she joined several neighborhood friends to form the pop-soul vocal group, the Supremes, then called the Primettes, a name derived from their sister act association with the Primes, a forerunner of the Temptations. She has been engaging and endearing for the past 5 decades, ever since she became one of these 4 singular talents who defined the music of Motown for all time, representing the perfect blend of soul and style. Everything about her is mostly chic. Her delicate soprano voice, her style, and the perfect song she makes singles her out. Diana's group themselves, the Supremes, and they achieved a string of hits. Their talent caught the eye of Smokey Robinson, who helped them secure a recording contract. For Ross, this marked the start of an illustrious career, but for others, it meant fading into obscurity. After recording briefly with Lupine Records, they were invited to audition for Motown after participating in a Canadian talent show. The group auditioned for Motown executive Berry Gordy in August 1960. Still, when Gordy learned the members of the Primettes were just 16 years old, he told them to come back when they graduated from high school, as Ross recounted in an interview with Pop Chronicles. And come back. They did, because they never gave up. Therefore, Gordy agreed to sign the group in 1961 on the condition that they change their name to something more marketable, Per Smith. The group considered names such as the Melodies, the Sweet Peas, and the Jewelettes, before landing on the very marketable name, the Supremes. The quartet signed with Berry Gordy's Motown Records in 1960. Later the following year, they released their first Motown single. The quartet consisted of Ross, Mary Wilson, and Florence Ballard, replaced in 1967 by Cindy Birdsong. Still, even as 1964 dawned, according to history, the group was often referred to as the No-Hit Supremes by employees and executives at Hitsville, USA. However, the Supremes didn't catch on right away. Creating the distinctive look and sound that ultimately made them famous took a while. Gordy unsuccessfully paired the group with different musicians and songs for 3 years until he finally stumbled upon the right formula. In 1964, Holland Dozier Holland gave the Supremes their first #1 single with Where Did Our Love Go? Embellishing Diana Ross's precise, breathy phrasing with chiming bells and a subdued rhythm section gave the Supremes an intentional lack of identifiable ethnicity. Between July 1964 and May 1965, the hit-making Supremes went on to see a streak of 5 consecutive #1 hits on the pop charts, including songs like Baby Love in 1964, Stop, In the Name of Love in 1965, and Someday We'll Be Together in 1969. However, in 1967, the group was renamed Diana Ross and the Supremes, foreshadowing Ross's solo career, which she launched in 1970. Her career has spanned over the last 5 decades, with over 100 million records sold, 57 albums released, and garnered numerous #1 hits and awards. Diana Ross's solo career as an American singer and actress. Diana Ross's solo career began in 1970. Ross has released 25 studio albums, numerous singles, and compilations that have sold more than 100 million records worldwide. Her debut solo album, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, became Ross's first #1 hit without the group. In 1972, Motown produced a biographical film about Billie Holiday called Lady Sings the Blues. Ross was well received in her role as Holiday, and the film garnered spectacular reviews and a Golden Globe Award. 5 years later, she starred as Dorothy in the Broadway play The Wiz, an African-American spin-off of The Wizard of Oz. Also, Upside Down, a song from Diana's album, was released in 1980. It marked Ross's 5th single to top the charts and was also massively popular overseas. Her most successful album as a solo artist to date, Diana, reached #2 on the Billboard 200 chart and remained on the chart for 52 weeks. Throughout her solo career, Ross has continued to perform on film, television, and stage. In 1980, Ross left Motown and signed a $20 million contract with RCA, receiving the largest amount of money ever paid to a single artist. While with RCA, Ross produced several gold-certified albums and a number of hit singles. In 1983, the Supremes trio returned to the limelight for the TV special Motown 25, Yesterday, Today, and Forever, performing one song. Ross sang at the Super Bowl in 1996 and presented at the MTV Video Music Awards 3 years later. She proposed a Supremes reunion tour in 2000, but Wilson and Birdsong declined because of contract disagreements. The tour continued with 2 replacements, although it was canceled after its first shows due to poor sales. Among her accolades, Diana Ross sang for the Queen of England. In 2007, she had 2 stars on Hollywood's Walk of Fame, and the Kennedy Center Honors Committee honored Ross for her influence on American culture. Diana Ross is still active musically, releasing records and touring in the US, Canada, and Europe. On November 16, 2016, Ross was announced as one of the 21 Presidential Medal of Freedom recipients, the nation's highest civilian honor. Also, in 2023, Supreme's co-founders Ross, the late Mary Wilson, and Florence Ballard received the Grammy's Lifetime Achievement Award. Ross became the first woman to win the award twice, as she earned a solo honor in 2012. Diana has slowed down her career as she prepares to enter her 8th decade. On March 26th, the Grammy winner was announced as the face of Saint Laurent by Anthony Vaccarello's new campaign for the French brand's Spring 2024 collection. Relationships and love life. Diana Ross. Her relationships and love life. Even though Ross had an amazing career, she was also an amazing lover, with great taste in great men. Diana Ross's life may be quite different from the image many have of her, but she sure knows how to make great partners. Many famous men have relationships with Diana Ross in one way or another, and these men could only count themselves lucky. Starting with Berry Gordy, Diana Ross's relationship with Motown founder Berry Gordy dates back to the early days of her career, as he played an instrumental role in launching the Supremes to stardom. The two began a romantic relationship in the 1960s, resulting in their daughter's birth in 1971. Though their romance waned, their professional collaboration continued, with Gordy co-producing several of Ross's chart-topping hits. Their lifelong connection, both personally and professionally, is a testament to their immense impact on each other's lives. Diana Ross's relationship with actor Jon Voight began in the 1970s after they met through mutual friends in Hollywood. Their love story captured the attention of media and fans alike, as both were iconic figures in their respective fields. The two attended numerous events together and even collaborated on a few projects, but eventually called it quits after a few years of dating. Despite their separation, they remained amicable, leaving a lasting impression of mutual respect and admiration. Since childhood, Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson have been close friends. Their connection dates back to their early days in Detroit, long before fame graced their lives. During the rise of the Supremes and the Miracles, rumors of a romantic relationship between the two stars began to circulate. While they have both continually insisted that their connection was purely platonic, the intensity of their bond has long fueled speculation. Their long-lasting friendship remains a testament to the profound connection they share. Arna Nace Jr. began dating the enchanting Diana Ross in the early 1980s after meeting at a social event. The couple lit up every room they entered and shared numerous memorable experiences throughout their relationship, such as traveling the world together and enjoying each other's company. They were married in 1986 in a romantic ceremony that solidified their love story. But unfortunately, after 14 years of marriage, the couple decided to divorce in 2000. Despite their separation, they maintained a cordial relationship for the sake of their 2 children. In the late 1960s, Diana Ross and fellow Motown artist Eddie Kendricks developed a romantic connection. The two shared a bond as artists, and personally, as they navigated the turbulence of fame and life in the public eye. However, their romance was short-lived, as they eventually prioritized their careers over their relationship. Their time together remains a memorable chapter in the tapestry of both their lives. Diana Ross began dating the larger-than-life Kiss frontman Gene Simmons in the early 1980s after her split with Silberstein. The unlikely pairing develops a strong bond, and Simmons even introduces Ross to his mother. Together, they attended high-profile events and showcased their love to the public eye for several years. However, their whirlwind romance ended, with Simmons eventually settling down with model Shannon Tweed. In the mid-1970s, Diana Ross crossed paths with actor Ryan O'Neal at an industry party, which sparked the beginning of their passionate romance. The two were often spotted enjoying each other's company and attending events together, looking every bit the glamorous couple. However, their romance was short-lived and eventually fizzled out, as both went on to pursue other relationships and their respective careers. Despite the brevity of their time together, their union remains a memorable chapter in both stars' lives. Renowned tennis icon Arthur Ashe and Diana Ross were romantically linked in the late 1960s after meeting at a charity event. The two were spotted attending several high-profile events together and shared a strong connection both on and off the court. Although their relationship lasted only a short time, the couple's mutual admiration lingered long after their split. They remained friends, supporting each other's careers and philanthropic endeavors throughout the years. In the late 1960s, Diana Ross worked closely with renowned fashion photographer Francesco Scavullo on a series of stunning photo shoots. Through their collaborations, a romantic relationship blossomed between the two, despite Scavullo's openly gay identity. Their affair was short-lived, but their shared connection would continue throughout their careers, as Scavullo photographed Ross on numerous occasions. Even though their romance didn't last, their mutual respect and admiration for each other's work made a lasting impression. The early 1970s saw Diana Ross briefly dating legendary Hollywood actor and director Warren Beatty. Though their relationship was short-lived, it garnered significant attention due to Beatty's reputation as a notorious womanizer. Despite the brevity of their romance, Ross and Beatty remained friends, even working together later on Beatty's film Reds. This chapter in their lives is a testament to the magnetic charm and allure they both exuded during their time as a couple. Diana Ross married music executive Robert Ellis Silberstein in 1971, just months after the birth of her first child, with Motown founder Berry Gordy. Throughout their marriage, they welcomed two daughters and supported each other's professional achievements, with Silberstein acting as Ross's manager. However, after 6 years of marriage, the couple decided to part ways, ultimately divorcing in 1977. Despite their separation, they remained committed to co-parenting their children and maintaining a positive relationship. In the early 1980s, Diana Ross was briefly linked to fellow star Richard Gere. Although there was not much public interaction between the two during their short-lived romance, their pairing made headlines due to their shared status as Hollywood icons. Ultimately, their relationship was fleeting, as both moved on to other romantic endeavors. However, their connection remains a memorable moment in the annals of celebrity romances. In the early 2000s, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg was briefly rumored to be romantically involved with Diana Ross. The pairing made headlines due to Bloomberg's status as a powerful public figure and the unlikely nature of their union. However, their relationship never blossomed into anything more serious, and they soon went their separate ways. Despite the brevity of their time together, the coupling remains a fascinating piece of Ross's romantic history. Diana Ross and Michael Jackson's friendship began when a young Michael and the Jackson 5 were introduced to the music scene by Motown Records. However, it wasn't until later in their careers that rumors of a romantic relationship between the two superstars began to swirl. Though they both denied being anything more than friends, their undeniable chemistry and close bond fueled speculation. Reportedly, Michael Jackson was also in love with Diana Ross, and when she tied the knot in 1980, Michael was jealous because he said, "I loved her and always will." However, throughout their lives, they supported each other, often attending events and singing each other's praises. They co-starred in The Wiz and collaborated on multiple occasions. They were so close that Jackson's will stated that if his mother couldn't care for his children, they would go to Ross instead of any other family member. Still, according to some people, Diana was the love of Michael Jackson's life. It is said that he confessed his love for her, and they loved each other. Diana Ross's toxic friendship with Diana Ross and Cher have a lot in common. They're both legendary singers, have powerhouse pipes, and started in the 1960s. In 1975, Ross and Cher were co-presenters at the first Rock Music Awards. Both are American icons who achieved superstardom in the 1960s, but in the 1970s, they were also in love with the same man, Gene Simmons. However, soon, Ross found out that she wasn't the only one with a relationship with Gene Simmons. It almost led to the end of her friendship with Cher. It's thought that Cher was involved with the rock star first. The story said that Simmons and Cher were residing together in Malibu when he developed feelings for Ross. In 2015, Simmons said, "One Christmas, when he asked Cher what he should buy her, she said, 'Call my friend Diana Ross. She will tell you exactly what I like, as she is my best friend.'" So Simmons called Diana up, and they went shopping. Then, their feelings for each other developed quickly, and they started a relationship. After that, Cher and Diana's friendship became loose and worn out. Diana Ross mourns the love of her life. After dating Gene, Diana Ross later tied the knot with Norwegian businessman Arne Næss Jr. in 1985. In February 2011, Diana told Oprah Winfrey during an appearance on her show that she considers Arne the love of her life. Their marriage happened swiftly after the meeting. Diana Ross and Arne Næss were married for 13 years and divorced in 2000. Unfortunately, in 2004, the BBC reported Arne Næss's death. The 66-year-old died on January 13, 2004, in a mountain climbing accident in South Africa. Ross was interviewed after his funeral, and despite being divorced for 4 years before his passing, she expressed her grief, stating that it was a very difficult day for her and her boys. However, she attended her ex-husband Arne Næss's funeral to sing his favorite hymn. The 59-year-old singer put on a brave face for the service in Oslo, Norway, on January 21, 2004. Diana Ross, her life as a mum. Diana was 2 months pregnant with a child, who she conceived with Motown big shot Berry Gordy, when she decided to marry music executive Robert Ellis Silberstein in January of 1971. Rhonda Suzanne Silberstein was born the following August, and Robert raised her as his own. They subsequently welcomed 2 more daughters into their family, including Tracy Joy Silberstein, better known to Blackish fans as actress Tracy Ellis Ross, in 1972, and Chudney Lane Silberstein, born 3 years later in 1975. In 1986, with her second marriage, she became a stepmother as Arne brought older children, Katinka, Christopher, and singer Leona Næss to the blended family. She also became a boy mom. The couple welcomed 2 sons, Ross Arne in 1987 and Evan Olav in 1988. After losing the father of her kids, she admitted that her life felt quite lonely, especially during her years as a single mother with no one to share responsibilities or rely on. She carried everything on her shoulders for a long time, leading to a complicated relationship with solitude. While Diana Ross values her solitude, she also feels guilt. She writes about how the extensive weeks and months of traveling were difficult, causing her to miss her husband and children. She noted how she mostly feels guilty about leaving her kids to source for livelihood. She starts to think the person watching them does not care for them as she would. Although she always talks to her children on the road, she forms pictures in her head of how their faces look while they talk. However, while she thought it was all good, it turned out that it wasn't. Diana Ross's traumatic moments, losing family members. Although Diana Ross may have had everything, Her memoir, Secrets of a Sparrow, reveals a different story. In her book, Diana Ross reflected on her childhood and gained a deeper understanding of her mother's hardships. To ensure their happiness, she also remembered the circumstances surrounding her mother's passing, which occurred 2 years after being diagnosed with cancer. Ross wrote about how fast and traumatic it was for her. It is evident that she was trying to hold on to life, as one could also see that life was slowly leaving her. During that period, Diana Ross was busy with a series of Radio City Music Hall concerts. After each show, she would fly back home to Detroit, then return to New York in time for the following evening's performance. One of her greatest regrets in life was not canceling the shows to spend more time with her mother. She wrote, "I tried to be strong for her and the rest of the family." Knowing what's right when things are happening isn't always easy. Diana Ross had also lost her brother, Tim, in his own house. Diana Ross talked lovingly about her siblings in her book. Her brother Arthur was called T-Boy when he was young because he was very small for his age. Then, in 1996, both T-Boy and his wife, Patricia Ann Robinson Ross, bodies were found in their house's basement in the Detroit area. They had been married for less than a year. According to the Tampa Bay Times, both Arthur and his wife were tied up and suffocated with plastic bags. They were found dead in their house's basement, estimated to have been there for 2 to 3 weeks. Jet reported that neighbors alerted authorities due to a foul odor from the home. Ross expressed her shock, saying she loved him very much. Diana Ross's nearly faced jail terms. Her travails didn't end with family members' deaths, though. Again, her lowest moment may have been in December 2002, when Ross found herself spending 22 and 8 hours in jail after being arrested for driving under the influence. The incident occurred on December 30th, 2002, in Tucson, when a motorist phoned police to report a car driving the wrong way down a busy road in suburban Tucson late at night. Officers found a red-eyed Ross outside a video shop, unable to stand on one foot or write the alphabet. Officers conducted a test revealing a blood alcohol concentration of 0.20%, significantly exceeding the state's legal limit of 0.08%. The judge sentenced Ross to 2 days in a Los Angeles prison. Under the plea agreement, 2 related charges were dropped. She must also pay an $850 fine and complete a year's unsupervised probation. Ross was permitted to address her case via phone from New York, but was ultimately sentenced to 48 hours in jail. However, she was released early due to a female guard's inability to attend her stay in Greenwich Jail. Overall, Ross spent 47 hours in the custody of Greenwich police over 3 days. Ross's efforts to keep the episode from the public failed when the judge accepted media requests that the police video of her arrest be released. It was aired, and America's tabloids published the arrest sheet with the failed attempt at writing A to Z. Diana Ross had addictions. While we thought that a superstar's career is everything, from Diana's perspective, it isn't. Many would assume that she was drunk driving after leaving a party, usually what many celebrities do, but it appears her reason for drinking was far from just gaining pleasure. Reportedly, Diana was struggling with alcohol addiction in 2002. People magazine reported that Ross had checked into an alcohol rehabilitation center. No details were shared about her treatment, with the official statement simply saying that she was there to clear up some personal issues. They also stressed that she had entered the facility voluntarily. However, according to sources in the U.S., Miss Ross's children became concerned as she drank wine day and night. The pain pills prescribed were usually ones prescribed for an old injury, added the source. But soon, she was hooked on them, too. She was becoming more and more depressed and reliant on substances to make it through the day. It was also noted that she was experiencing tremendous mood swings because of the pills and booze. It was reported that Miss Ross seemed disoriented when she checked into the Promises Clinic. Maybe she was heavily medicated, but she was acting like she didn't know where she was. Diana was very spaced out, walking around wearing a black silk dress, with her hair all done up as if she was at some fancy Beverly Hills spa. Diana Ross remains grateful. On March 28, 2024, Ross noted that she had a beautiful and exciting 80th birthday party with family and friends. Thus, she is very grateful. She released her album Thankful. She made it clear that one can't stop thinking. So thinking good thoughts is thinking gratitude. Similarly, Diana Ross felt a unique gratitude during the Supreme's fame peak. In her memoir, she expressed how she recognized their luck in achieving success while it was happening. While many realized their fortune only after it was gone, Ross always appreciated the opportunity to make a living doing what she loved. Singing, Diana Ross kept her personal struggles hidden until she revealed them in her memoirs. Throughout her career, she remained an iconic singer who captivated audiences with her music and undeniable talent. Despite her challenges, she has proven to be a wonderful mother to her children and a lasting icon in history. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another of our interesting videos before you leave.